Okay, so we'll continue with our fourth chapter, which we started last week. Yes, heat. So, what is heat? Heat is a form of. Oh, you all got your books? Very good, very good, good. So, start using your books. Pray first. Everybody pray that you should do this year very well. You should learn many things. You should improvise yourself. Yes, pray and then start using your books. Right. So whatever chapters are covered so far, go through those chapters, read them, take time to read, underline the important points, underline the difficult words, and then write them in your notebook. Okay, and start writing your classworks also in for all the subjects, right? So I think for science we'll be having two notebooks, science 1 and science 2. So science 1 is physical science, so you'll be writing the content which I am sending. Science 2 will be writing the content which Ida Principal ma'am is sending you. Okay, so start writing. Make sure that you write very neatly without striking, without scribbling. Okay, so once hopefully when the school reopens, you will check your notebook. Okay, good. Okay, now we will start continuing the chapter which we started, heat. We learned that heat is a form of energy, right? It gets transferred from hotter object to colder objects, right? Heat is the cause of temperature, and temperature is the effect of heat. How do we measure heat? By determining the temperature, by checking the temperature. So temperature will help us to find the degree of hotness. Yes. Then we started learning about we learned about thermometer devices which are used to check the temperature, laboratory thermometer, clinical thermometer, right? Then digital thermometer, right? What is the normal human body temperature? What is the normal human body temperature? 37 degrees Celsius. Very good. In Fahrenheit? Very good, very good. Many are sending the answer. 37 degrees Celsius. How much Fahrenheit? Not 94. It is 98.6. Okay. 98.6 Fahrenheit. Very good. Good. Which thermometer is used to check the human body temperature? Is it laboratory thermometer or clinical thermometer? Clinical thermometer. Very good. Clinical thermometer is used to check the human body temperature. Very good. The thermometers, laboratory and clinical thermometer, have a liquid metal inside. What is the name of that liquid metal? Mercury. Very good. Very good. Good. Good, good, good. Good to know. Can we use laboratory thermometer to check our temperature? No. Why? Why can't we use? That also has mercury. This also has mercury. Both laboratory and clinical thermometer have mercury in them. Then why can't we use it? Okay, very good. Because clinical thermometer has a kink, has a constriction inside it, which will not allow the mercury to fall down immediately. Okay, whereas laboratory thermometer doesn't have a kink, and you can take the temperature only when you keep the laboratory thermometer submerged in the substance. Okay, so once you take it out from the solution, or any fluid of what we are going to take the temperature. When once you take it out, the mercury level falls down. So you can take the temperature, you can take the reading only by keeping the laboratory thermometer inside the solution or inside the substance of what we are going to take the temperature. Okay, so you have to hold it, you have to keep it at the level of your eyesight and check the temperature. Once you remove it, the mercury level will fall down. So we cannot take the use it for checking human body temperature, right? Okay. Now we started we started the next one, and then we learned about digital thermometer, where we came to know that digital thermometers are free of mercury, and there are many advanced thermometers which we don't have to even bring it to our contact. I mean, they are contact free, so you don't have to touch it with your body. Without touching your body, you can take the temperature. Okay, they are digital, so they'll have a LCD screen in which the temperature will be displayed, right? Okay, I think most of you will be having a digital thermometer, especially during this COVID situation. Most of us have this oximeter and digital thermometer at home. Yes. Okay. So after we covered the topic, we have seen in shopping malls. Okay, good. You will find, yeah, you get it in shopping malls, in medical shops, pharmacies. Okay. So important thing is, while using these thermometers, we have to be very, very careful, especially while using laboratory and clinical thermometer. You have to handle it very, very carefully. Okay. So then after covering these temperature thermometer, we came to the next topic of the chapter, which is transfer of heat, right? You remember what are the three modes of transfer of heat? Yeah, laboratory thermometer is only used in labs. Good. Conduction, very good. Good. Next one. No, insulator, no. So heat is a form of energy that flows from one body to another, right? So it will flow from one part to another part. So the process of carrying heat from one part of the object to another part is called transfer of heat. And heat can flow from a higher temperature to a lower temperature. Yes, very good. To a lower temperature by three different ways. One is conduction. Second is convection. Okay. Third is radiation. I don't want anybody to open the book, so please close your books. Okay, don't open your book. Pay attention. Otherwise, you will not pay attention to what I am talking. Right? So transfer of heat can flow from a body of higher temperature to a body of lower temperature, right? So transfer of heat takes place by three different ways, that is conduction, convection, and radiation. So conduction we already started learning, and I finished telling you what is conduction. What is conduction? Just try to give the answer in your own words. Do not open your textbooks and tell me the answer. Right. Conduction. Very good. Conduction. Heat is transferred by conduction in solids. So it takes place in solids. A very important point to remember. Yes. So it can be asked as in objective, as an objective. Okay. How does heat get transferred in solid? It gets transferred by the mode of conduction. Okay. Heat passes in solids by conduction. So transfer of heat from hot material to a material of low temperature will be passed through conduction. Then we learned about conductors and we learned about insulators. Conductors and insulators. What are conductors? Conductors are the materials that allow heat to pass. Right? Insulators, they do not allow heat. They do not allow heat to pass. Right? So conductors are the materials that allow heat to pass through them. Insulators are the materials which do not allow heat to pass through them. So we call them as good conductors and we call insulators as poor conductors. Okay, poor conductors. For example, all the metals are conductors. Right? Okay. All the metals are conductor. An example of insulator. Example of insulator. Wood, paper, air, water. These are examples of poor conductors of heat. Okay. In general, liquids and gases are poor conductors of heat, or in simple terms, liquids are poor conductors, gases are the poorest conductors of heat. Okay, right? Yes, liquids are poor conductors of heat. Why? Because conduction mode of transfer of heat takes place only in solids. Because the molecules are packed tightly in solids, right? We have learned about the arrangement of molecules in solid, liquid, and gases. We know how molecules are arranged in solid, liquids, and gases. In solids, they are tightly packed. There will be no movement of molecules. In liquids and gases, liquids, the molecules will be a little far, whereas in gases, they'll be very, very, very far. Okay. So conduction doesn't take place in liquids and gases. It takes place only in solids. That's why liquids are poor conductors of heat and gases are poorest conductors of heat. Yes? Clear? Everyone? Any doubts in this? Yes, ma'am. What doubt? Or was that for clear? I understood. Okay, no doubts. Okay. Now, what are the uses of conductors and insulators? For example, when we were learning about conductors, I told you we make use of utensils, right? Utensils are made from, they are made from metals, right? They're made from metals. But have you noticed, especially this generation utensils, you will find that the handle or the in the sides you will have the handles or one single hand will be made from an insulator, will be made from plastics or wood. Why? Because they are poor conductors of heat. Okay, so once we use especially the non-stick kadhais and all, not only non-sticks but now most of the kadhais and pans are coming with plastic handles or wooden handles. Why? Because once we cook, we start cooking. By mistake, if you go and touch if it doesn't have a plastic handle or wooden handle, if you go and touch, you'll not be able to bear the heat. So this insulator, the plastic handle or the wooden handle, is helping us to hold the vessel tightly because heat is not getting transferred, right? Have you noticed next time when mummy cooks something in a kadhai or a pan with a handle, go and try to touch, heat will not pass at all to the handle because it is a insulator. Okay, so to hold the vessel tightly and to save yourself from burn injuries. Okay, because especially those days when these non-sticks were not introduced or when these handle made from insulators were not in use, most of the ladies used to get burn injuries. They used to get burn in their fingers, hand, and all these things. Okay, so the utensils are made up of metals because they are good conductors, and as they are good conductors, they will quickly transfer heat. Right? What is the job of conductors? To transfer heat. They will allow heat to pass through them. So utensils are good conductors, so they will quickly allow the transfer of heat from the stove, the heat, the fire, which is making the vessel to get hot, and the vessel itself is made up of metal, a conductor, so it will become hot very soon. Whereas the handle will not. And another example is the spatulas we use. Instead of using the stainless steel spoons, if we use that and just leave it on that, what will happen? The heat will get transferred from the kadhai to the stainless steel spoon, okay, or ladle. So what will happen if you go and touch it? You will not be able to hold it because it will be too hot. So that's why we have all started using. Most of us have started using wooden spatulas. Because once you stir it, you leave it aside, it will not become hot because it is a poor conductor of heat. Okay. So you making use of these things is helping or saving us from burn injuries. Okay. That is one example. Another example, when we were talking about thermometers, I told you mercury is used in laboratory thermometer and clinical thermometer, right? Mercury is used in thermometer because it is a good conductor of heat. Mercury is a good conductor of heat. That is why it is used in thermometers. So once the body temperature rises, as you place the thermometer, the mercury, as it is a good conductor of heat, will start rising and show us the temperature. Next example is woolen clothes. Woolen clothes. Why woolen clothes? Wool is a poor conductor of heat. We have learned this last year. We have learned this when we were discussing about fiber to fabric chapter this year. Do you all remember? Last year also we learned this. Yes? Yes. So wool is a poor conductor of heat. It is a poor excuse me. It is a poor conductor of heat. Now, what do you mean by poor conductor of heat? As wool is a poor conductor of heat, it will prevent the flow of heat from our body. Right? When we wear woolen clothes, our body produces warmth, and this heat will be trapped inside the woolen fabric, and wool will not allow it to pass through. Okay, so it is a poor conductor. That's why you can tell that the woolen clothes are good insulator. If it is a poor conductor, then automatically it is a good insulator and it will prevent heat. It prevents heat transfer. It prevents heat transfer. Right? So it helps us to keep warm. So these are examples of conductors and insulators. Now moving on to convection. Convection. So conduction takes place only in solids. Liquids are poor conductors of heat. Gases are the poorest conductors of next one, convection. 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 What is convection? Convection is okay, wait, I will draw a name. Supposing this is a beaker of water. Okay. When you heat it, what will happen? This is what liquid, right? Everything is made up of molecules, solids, liquids, gases, right? So molecules here, so just imagine these are the molecules, okay? This molecule will become hot, one molecule will become hot, it will make the other molecule hot, then here, it will keep passing, all these molecules here will become hot, okay? Why they are becoming hot? Because there is transfer of heat from the hotter particles to the colder particles. Now, as this region becomes hot, these molecules are hot, right? As they are hot, they will move upwards, and the colder molecules here on the top will come to the bottom. So there is transfer of heat from the hotter particles of the liquid to the colder particles. Why? Because there are movement of particles. What are those particles? Molecules. Molecules are moving, right? So as there is movement of particles in liquids and gases. So convection mode of heat of transfer of heat takes place in liquids and gases. Are you able to understand? As you heat it, the molecules at the bottom, one by one, slowly, they will become hot. They will pass heat to the other molecule, then pass to the next molecule. So all this bottom region will become hot. Then this hot molecules, as they are hot, they will move upwards because they will become light in weight, and the colder molecule from the top will come to the bottom. And the whole thing gets hot, right? Am I right? So this is what is convection. Water and air are poor conductors of heat, and they cannot transfer heat by conduction. Water and air are poor conductors of heat, are poor conductors of heat. So they cannot transfer heat by conduction, right? How do they transfer heat? By the mode of convection. Convection, okay. So it is the process of transfer of heat from the hotter particles of a liquid to the colder particles. So there is movement of particles, movement of molecules, okay, which is making the whole thing hot. Transfer of heat, okay. So convection takes place it is possible in liquids and gases. gases because the particles can move. It is possible in liquids and gases. It is not possible in solids. So we know that in solids, the molecules are tightly packed. They cannot move. So convection mode of heat of transfer, transfer of heat doesn't take place in liquids and gases. Oh, wait. Convection takes place only in liquids and gases as the molecules can move. In solids, they cannot take place because the molecules are tightly packed, they cannot move. So only conduction takes place in solids. Convection doesn't happen in solids. Am I clear? Yes. Convection is not at all possible in solids because the particles are fixed. They cannot move. They are not free at all. In solids, the molecules are tightly packed, right? So they cannot move at all. So the mode of convection is not at all possible in solids as the particles are fixed. Whereas in liquids and gases, the particles are not fixed. They can move freely. The molecules can move freely. So that's why convection is possible in liquids and gases as the molecules can free. This is a very important objective type question. So you shouldn't get confused. Any doubts? Conduction takes place in solids. Conduction takes place in solids, not liquids. Because in solids, the molecules are tightly packed. The particles cannot move freely at all. They are very, very tightly arranged next to each other. They have a rigid, they have a definite shape and volume, right? So the mode of convection, the mode of conduction doesn't take place in liquids because in liquids the molecules can move freely. So convection takes place in liquids and gases because the molecules can move freely. They can move, no, like that. They have space. So convection takes place in liquids and gases. Conduction takes place in solids as the solids are tightly packed. Water and air are poor conductors of heat. A very important objective type question. Dash and air are poor conductors of heat. So you should know it is water. Or water and air are dash of heat. They are poor conductors of heat. Okay. A very important 1 mark question. So please write it down in your notebook. Okay. Okay, let me ask you one more question. Transfer of heat due to movement of particles in liquid or gas from hotter part of the liquid to colder part of the liquid is called dash. Convection. Very good. Very good. Good. Mercury is a dash of heat. That is why it is used in thermometer. Mercury is dash of heat. Is it a good conductor or a poor conductor? It is good conductor. Okay, very good, very good. It is conductor of heat. Okay, so go through the lesson in your book. I'll send you the PowerPoint slides soon so that you can go through. Keep preparing for your cycle test. Okay, simultaneously every day spend at least 20 minutes for each subject. Today you have your cycle test as it is beginning from today. Wishing you all the best. Do well. Write neatly. Right, you've come to 7th standard, so make sure that you write neatly and do well. Okay, Tamil. Okay, good. Do well. Thank you.